Hello everyone, I am Sabir Ahmed, the accounting tutor, and I welcome you to the second lecture of IGCSE Accounting. This lecture is a part of the basics of accounting, and in this lecture we are going to learn about ledger accounts. By the end of this lecture, you would be able to prepare T accounts, to convert journal entries into ledger, to record transactions directly into ledger, and you will also be able to balance off T accounts. Let's get started with ledger. Ledger is also known as T accounts. These are basically individual accounts in T shape prepared to record individual information of business transactions. For example, let's say if we prepare a ledger account called bank account, it will definitely contain all entries of transactions related to the bank account of the business. Here you can see the format of ledger. Please keep in mind that it is important for you to have knowledge of journal entries as well as debit and credit before you learn the format of ledger. Now let's get back to the format. As you can see, the account is in the shape of alphabet T. There are two sides. The left side is called the debit side and the right side is called the credit side. In both sides, we have columns for date, details, and amount. That is exactly how a ledger account must look like. We would start by journalizing transactions first and then recording them into ledger accounts. Once we learn the rule, we can easily record transactions directly into ledger without the help of journal entries. So on the screen you can see that on January 1, the business purchased machinery worth $6,000 by check. We know that in order to journalize the transactions, we must debit machinery account and credit bank account by $6,000. Now notice that there are two accounts in this journal entry. Hence, while preparing ledger, we need to make two individual accounts, one for machinery and one for bank. As we know that ledger accounts are individual accounts prepared to record individual transactions. First, we will prepare a T account and name it machinery account. Notice that in this transaction, machinery account was debited. Please keep in mind that if an account is debited in the journal, the transaction will also be recorded on the debit side of that particular account. I repeat, please keep in mind that if an account is debited in the journal, the transaction will also be recorded on the debit side of that particular account. And by debit side, we refer to the left side of any T account. Since in this transaction, machinery account has been debited, we will record the transaction on the debit side of the machinery account. On the debit side, we have entered the date of the transaction, which is 1st of January, and also entered the value $6,000 under the amount column. But notice that in the details column, we have entered the name of the opposite heading or the opposite account. This is exactly how a transaction must be recorded in ledger. If we had entered the transaction in the name of machinery account on the debit side of machinery account itself, as shown on the account at the right, it would have been wrong, because then we would not be able to track this transaction. But by recording bank account on the debit side of machinery account, we can easily tell that there has been a purchase of machinery and the price has been paid by check. Therefore, keep in mind that you must record transactions with the name of the opposite account. Hence, in this case, we entered bank account on the debit side of machinery account. Now similarly, let's prepare the bank account. Bank account has been credited, so without any doubt, the transaction will be recorded on the credit side of the bank account. And as the opposite heading is machinery account, the transaction will be recorded in the name of machinery account on the credit side of bank account, while date and amount remains the same. So in this way, just by looking at this entry, we can say that $6,000 were paid out from the bank account in order to pay for the purchase of machinery.